So, I mean, I guess we really need to work on that title, right? I mean, what do you think? What are
I
some of
mean,
your
to be
suggestions?
fair, is that we've never really been great at titles for our shows anyway,
Absolutely.
right?
I wait till the last second. I always do, and that's my fault. But I'm like, hey, so what do we think? I mean, we know obviously the beginning part, but
Right.
let me
Well,
have
yeah,
some of your ideas.
the beginning part of our title of our show is the best of our week. So we've got that. We know what that part's going to be,
It's a
and
great
then
recipe.
we just have to wait until like the last possible minute. If there's any news, I mean, like news could have broke at like 9 p.m. Pacific time. We'd want our show to reflect that. And
Yeah,
if we're not on
be
the
right on
ball,
top of it. Yeah, we have to be right on the pulse, middle of the night,
sure.
news
So,
coverage here.
so I just want to share with folks tuning into the stream, like naming an episode of a podcast is really precious. I mean, it takes a lot of
Absolutely.
work, takes a lot of legwork, it takes a lot of like investment. You really got to be on it. You really got to think, what is it that we're gonna call this podcast? So I started off. I kicked it off. TK reached out and he was like, "Hey, what do
What
you
do you think?
think? What do you think?" And so this is the first title I came up with, and this is real. I mean, we've got the texts between TK and I to confirm if anything.
I have we have the actual text. That's why I'm reading it because I don't want to butcher it. This is literally a conversation
So
right
this was
before the
my
show.
first title. My first title was quote Galaxy S21 Big Oof. I thought that summed it all up. I thought like that was a good title, but you were like, no, it's way too short.
It's way too short, right? I mean, come on, can you imagine? I mean, we have a lot of characters we can go with, and that's why I was actually when I came back to that, I was going to say the best of our week, episode 5, and I was going to say Galaxy S21, a hit or a flop. So I was trying to shoot in the direction that you're in.
Like
There a little bit,
asking a question, kind of mixing
yeah,
it there.
the good and the bad kind of thing. But
Okay, but
is it a
you
hit
hit
or?
me with that, and I felt like that's kind of tame, like
Okay, not edgy enough. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
right. You really got to kind of like hit the emotions. You really got to get people where they live, and so obviously my first one was too short, so I wanted to correct for that, and so my second title was, best of our week, episode 5, Galaxy S21. Samsung launches a phone that will make YouTube reviews even less relevant to the average consumers that reviewers pretend to defend, but who aren't really out there buying $800 phones. I thought like, hey, now I've got it. My first one was way too short. This one's really, spelling out the detail and making sure people know what we're all about.
You hit it right there on the nail, but we do have a character limit. There is a limit in there.
Yeah.
Title can only be 100 characters, and it sounds like you're trying to write a book in there, trying to tell them exactly how you feel after this amazing day.
Right. Looking back on it, it's a paragraph. I mean, it's probably
yeah, I think we should do so here. Okay, I realize the first one may not have been right on the point. So I'm thinking, how about the Galaxy S21, the compromise edition?
Okay.
It's leaning into that conversation.
Some punches.
A little bit, yeah.
I was like, okay. I feel where you're going with that. I'm with you. Compromise edition, and we're all super sensitive about compromises. So like, okay, let me take this and let me use your last title, right? Because you had like that back and forth. You had like maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing. So leaning into compromises is best of our week, episode 5. Obviously, we take that for granted. And then Galaxy S21, an apple flavored Kalama fudge of disastrous proportions, or a mediocre spec bump? Question mark. Yeah, feeling me?
I'm on the floor rolling. That's how I'm feeling here at this point. I'm not, I was like, by the time I saw that text, I was like, okay, I see what he's doing. He's trying to drive me into the wall. He's just
like sent you like 4 texts. Like, okay, now go with me here. Go with me for just a second. What if
we just go off the wall and just start going with that? The reality of the matter at the end of the day, we really need to hit the point on the, hit the conversation. So for me, it was a very, I mean, we settled. Obviously, we did settle on a title, which
just like Samsung settled, we had to settle too.
We had to kind of lean into it. We had to take ownership of it. The fact that that's where the whole title comes in today, which essentially we seem like we're seeing them taking pages out of Apple's playbook. Realistically, I mean, that was partially what was my last title as well. I wanted to basically, it's like Samsung, getting a copy in Apple's playbook or a page from Apple's playbook. Aditya said, I like that one. Aditya jumps in with the never settle. Yes, the slogans are always amazing. Rolando's in the chat, Vince is in the chat. Actually, we have quite a few, Twitch streamers today jumping in with us as well. So, with that being said, let's just do you want to start off with the impressions of I would say the biggest event of the day, I guess, since this is what's happening right now. This is our finger on the pulse right there.
Yeah, how about this? Let's play the game of just feels. We don't need to break down. Okay. I feel like those of us, those folks who are in our live chats and catching our streams, I mean, we're going to go through this in more detail and more depth, but y'all know pretty much what got announced. I mean, and the main thing that we're going to be focused on in our communities are the phones. I guess, especially thanks to leak culture and all of the rumors and leaks that have been surrounding this phone basically since the S20 came out. Because as soon as the S20 was out, that was dead, and it's not a topic that generates buzz anymore or hype anymore. So we've been on the roller coaster ride of hyping the leaks and rumors of the S21. I guess, to be fair, since the Note came out last year. I critically disappointed, but not surprised. I mean, my general feels like this is exactly the direction that Samsung's been leading us for a while now. And so none of this is a surprise, but I'm super disappointed that this is the train that Samsung is on.
Yes. And for me, it was, there wasn't actually much. So the things that I wanted to learn outside of the leaks that are obviously, as you said, it was already leaked to it was already leaked. Like 99% of the information we saw today during the launch was leaked. So there wasn't really much for the surprise on my end. There was a couple of little features that I got interested in that I felt like, I think was it called the director mode, that was interesting to me.
Just like on my TCL 10 Pro.
Yeah,
where I can see all the different cameras,
all the different cameras at the same time. That was about mostly the only feature that I saw that I didn't see in the leaks. Oh, and the fact that we lost all of the SD card, that amazing new feature is really exciting for me.
Yeah,
that was
a lack of SD card is the feature that people have been clamoring for, I think, since like the Galaxy S6. So
many people have said it since the S6. They've wanted to lose the SD card, and I think we finally have it.
I need to reduce the weight of my phone by that fraction of a gram. And finally, Samsung is giving us that weight reduction, and it's pretty impressive that they were able to reduce that feature out.
And if you remember what happened last time, though, during the S6, the S7 brought it back.
It's not coming back.
No. This time, I think this time is for good. I really don't see anybody coming back into.
Again, thanks to the Note, we know Samsung will stick to their guns on charging the same or more for reduced experience.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Yeah, if you watch the whole event, it was presented as if this was the next best thing. This is intended to be, in my opinion, when I was looking for this, I was looking for it to be a successor to the S20. I really wanted to see the successor to this guy. Okay, this guy for me was an upgrade from the S10. This truly felt, regardless of the issues of the S20 and what the concerns are with the Ultra and whatever with the cameras, it felt like an upgrade to me from the S20. From the S. Was it the S10?
S10.
Yeah. Sorry, I forget the whole, jumping from the 10 to the 20, and now we're back to incremental. Bigger battery, faster charging, larger sensor, a larger display, QHD, high refresh rate. Yeah. Those are things I was excited about. Today, I felt like Samsung gave us what we should have had last year for the S20 with the display. I mean, it was there. We had a Q. We could have done it.
Sure.
But then from that point on, I felt like it was a series of compromises. I really felt like it was a series of, even on the Ultra, what got me kind of really frustrated. So the lack of the SD card was the first hit. I was like, even on the Ultra, wow, okay. Then we get the same size battery, but we get slower charging. And I truly mean slower charging. I know it's fast charging as it's advertised, but the S20 Ultra supported 45-watt charging. The S21 does not.
No.
So that was the thing.
Why would you need that feature on an $800 phone?
Because I've been
TK, you're not
apparently
thinking about average consumers.
that is
Okay.
true.
Average
That is true.
consumers don't do things on their phone. They don't use their phones. They never
They
need
leave
to
it on the
charge their
charger
phone
they
quickly.
leave it on the charger and they walk away, right? They don't ever use their phone.
You know, you are grossly overestimating the value proposition of a premium priced gadget, and how people never use their premium priced gadgets to do anything more than speed run through social media apps. And that's it.
Or run benchmarks. Don't forget run benchmarks.
And so now, I mean, I'm happy. Every decision that Samsung made is the correct decision because Samsung is popular. So it doesn't matter that I was defending, weird things or different features or expandability or higher resolution displays. Last year it was the right time to defend those features because Samsung included them. Now it's the right time to not be bothered by those features missing because Samsung decided. I mean, basically, as long as Samsung says it's cool, then that's the only thing that matters.
Well, but that's what's going to be what we hear too. That's the weird part of the conversation. I think
it's already. I mean, like when they pulled MagStripe,
MST, Android headlines. I think it's Android.
Oh, but NFC is so broadly adopted now, and like BS, it is.
My grocery store that I go to this day does not accept Google Pay or Apple Pay. It only accepts Samsung. They know it by name because when anybody brings up Samsung, they know that it supports the MagStripe. And again, this is really, I'm feeling like the S21 is the S21 Compromise Edition because of the things that they removed, and the only new feature they added was an accessory that you have to buy separately for $70 to get a case and the S Pen. And it literally is this S Pen. It's not a new S Pen. It's the S Pen that comes with the Tab S7 or the S7 Plus if you've ever used it. So I'm already ready for that. I got the S Pen. But they teased the S Pen Plus, which will probably come later in the year, that gives the Note features.
And again, it's coming later in the year, so hopefully you've already bought an S Pen. And then they can sell you another S Pen Plus.
S Pen Plus, which would make
because that's the correct thing to do. TK, I'm very upset that you are not more concerned about Samsung's profit margins.
Apparently, I'm not. I'm worried about my pocket margins. But yes,
the only thing that matters, for your YouTube revenue and your YouTube views, is making sure that you are in perfect lockstep with every decision that Samsung makes for their bottom line.
Absolutely, and it seems like they feel like.
No, I mean,
I don't want to turn it into the TK rants about what things were not included.
I feel like this is the appropriate forum for TK.
It's just
a little. It's
I don't know. Okay, based on what they've done, I realized. Don't get me wrong. There are some things that they've done, obviously, to improve certain things that they've considered. So they improved the camera, supposedly.
No. This is what's so frustrating, and why, I mean, like, I was mostly joking about this, like, it's a calamafudge of disastrous proportions or a mediocre spec.
It is absolutely.
Samsung hasn't done anything to improve over the Galaxy S20.
No.
I think deserves some credit for trying to fix how terrible the separated modem situation was from the 865. So now in the 888, we're going to have much better carrier aggregation. That is going to be a benefit for roaming, for improving signal strength and stability, for radio management, antenna management, and also just hopefully it reduces some of the power draw. Hopefully it's a more efficient radio stack as well. Samsung didn't do it. Qualcomm did. So
absolutely.
I feel bullet point for bullet point for bullet point, the major advantages S20 over S21 have almost nothing to do with Samsung.
No, it truly is. At least it's a Qualcomm.
It's slightly more powerful.
Again, Qualcomm. It's the same phone with compromises. It's a spec bump. It's a spec bump with what Qualcomm did again.
The only thing I want to give Samsung is they finally figured out that if you have a raised camera module, maybe it shouldn't be glass. So kudos.
So
I'm
we don't.
glad that like
So I don't have to put a glass protector on the back of my phone as much as I put
over
it on the front.
two whole generations and product lines of phones, you finally figured out that having a giant domino raised in glass off the back of your phone was always a bad idea.
We got our first freeze.
Everyone could figure out. You coming back to me, bud?
Do we actually? Okay, we're back.
I'm pretty sure that's you, man.
Oh no, I swear I try not to. Okay, so with that being said, I actually I missed the last maybe 10, 15 seconds, 10 seconds or so, or whatever, roughly what he said. Mm-hmm. So to the point that you were saying, I cool. I don't know. I had you frozen in a very nice pose. It is. To me, if I'm looking at it realistically, I don't feel like it's an upgrade. I feel like it's a
no. I mean, so we were joking around about it, but I'm going to call this back because I feel like in sort of joking around on it, we totally nailed it. The Galaxy S21 is not a way for Samsung to cut into their profit margins and charge less for an S20. It was a way for Samsung to charge more for an FE. And now the S21 exists just like a regular Note 20. It is a pain point compromised phone that exists mostly to encourage an upsell to a Plus or to an Ultra. And if you
actually to the Ultra now, it's because the Plus isn't as much better than the standard model, with the exception of a few differences. The reality is, it truly is trying to bump you up to the Ultra, because I don't think the Plus really answers all of the things that we were expecting.
No, and it doesn't. But what I mean is, like, it's a pain point to try and encourage. If you care about a few other just slightly nicer features or a nicer build quality, well, there's the Plus. And if you care about that premium tier smartphone experience,
the best of the best of what they have to offer. You have to, and with the with the remote
on a bunch of stuff. Yeah.
Well, and not only that, and now because we don't have the SD card option, you have to buy in the higher memory options. So by default, they have the 128, 256, and 512 models. So to me, it was weird that in their presentation, there was a slide. There was actually a caption part that shows you the step jumping between each memory card option, each memory option that you get. And it's a $50 to go double on the first, but to go double from 256 to 512, it's an extra 100 and something. So it's a total, and it's, like it's a weird thing. Like I obviously I use their devices. I've been using them for years. I actually like what Samsung did in the past. I'm not against it. My concern is that their focused view on the bottom line has been so precise that at this point, I don't think they're realizing that they're starting to alienate some of their own users by doing things like this. Somebody that has, and this is where I'm trying to say, if you follow me, if somebody bought, let's say, an S21, an S20 last year, an example of me, I'm just going to use myself as an example. I bought the 128 model last year, and because I had an SD card on the Ultra, I have my 256 gig there, and I have my content. I transfer it from one device to the other. I don't like leaving my pictures and my videos and all of those things. I like to shoot in 4K all the time, and those are things I care about. Now, those things take space, so I offload all of that to my SD card. Right now, if I was to upgrade from the S20 to the S21 Ultra, same thing.
Nope.
You know what I mean? Like for me, I have to go with an extra fee. I have to pay more for the storage, which probably won't even hold all my content. This is the weirdest part of this conversation. So to me, at the end of the day, they're piecemealing this conversation, and we talked about this last week. This is no new information and no surprises. Realistically, it was they're really. I think somebody was even really happy or really hopeful to see an S21 FE, because at the end of the day, we want to see what they do with that. The S21, like you said, is a price point. It's truly a price point saying, hey, look, we're starting at $799. We dropped our base price. That's the range, $799 to 1200.
Yeah. But you
I don't
know,
know.
Samsung has got all the hot SEO for a company that spends $10 billion a year on advertising. So if you want to stay on the gravy train, you got to do all of those hot takes. And I don't know, I've got some concerns, but you know, if you're buying a new phone, I mean, this is going to be the best experience to offer. I'm looking at this beat for beat, spec for spec. Buy an S20. I know it's a little harder to find because they actually got pulled from a lot of carrier lineups.
Most carriers are, they've literally everything's like, it's almost like they turned the page. Everything is done.
But pretty much,
Swappa is your friend, by the way.
Yeah, because every piece of this, if you wanted that, we should start poking around for some sponsors.
I should get in touch with Swappa. I know a couple people there. I'm like, we really should. If nothing else, I sell enough things on their site and buy things off their site that we should get. There's no reason why we shouldn't get sponsored. But I do. Before we go too far, I do want to see if we can answer this question. Omar El Merwe. Hopefully, I'm saying that correctly. Is asking, is it worth upgrading from to the S21 Ultra from the Note Ultra?
I'm going to say no. I'm also going to say I feel this is going to be probably the worst year in my entire gadget reviewing career to try and justify a 1-year upgrade out of Samsung.
So and this is not even a year. This is like months. We're talking 4 months.
No, but I'm saying I'm willing to give Samsung the buffer of phone what launched in 2020 versus phone what launched in 2021.
Yeah.
And I can usually point to a demographic. I can usually point to a community. There's a niche kind of consumer out there who might benefit from this new feature, these new things. The only thing I'm looking forward to on new Samsungs is better radio management. And that's not so high up on my list of priorities in a 5G world where we're still trying to expand 5G into more markets. I can ever comfortably say, man, if you've got a decent phone from last year, this new Galaxy is the place to be, especially when I would highly recommend taking the slight hit to processing power you probably won't be able to tap very often and go with the S20, which has the same cameras, has expandable storage, has better 5G build quality. It still has 5G.
I was going to say, if you were like, well, yeah, but 5G is the big thing. It has 5G. Check. All of those things are there, which is really where, I echo the same statement. 2020 to 2021 is not the upgrade cycle. This is not going to give you that satisfaction of the, yes, I'm running the latest and greatest. This is the best thing ever since sliced bread. The reality of the matter, I feel like this is an upgrade for somebody that maybe is on there for 3 years. But again, I would still say go for the S20. I feel like the compromises are the things that were removed out of this device to make it a successor to make it a predecessor to the S21. There's a lot of things that you're losing as like a step. You know what I mean? Like you normally expect a step, even if it's a minor step, a spec bump of up, you expect it to go up. This is truly a down. Even with the 888, the 888 provides obviously the experience that you want. There's power management, better, 5 nanometer chipset. There's a lot of things into the 888. But
show me what you're doing that tapping an 865 is going to be such a horrific compromise.
Exactly, and the Note 20 Ultra.
Don't believe.
No. It's factual. There really is.
Well, and especially coming from the reviewer side too, because like, how many times do I show like crazy phone benchmarking? Like, let me show you editing raw files from a Sony or
they did rendering video. Samsung showed that you could edit videos now on their Note 20 Ultra, which is apparently a new feature.
Really? You can edit videos on a Note 20 Ultra now?
And
you only need to spend $1,400?
And get this. Here's the deal breaker. You could use a pen for an extra $70 and do precise function on the S20 on the S21. I don't think they've ever had that feature before. That doesn't exist.
I don't think that's ever existed before. I don't think you could ever do that. You could never do that. Never, never. No. This is so new. This is brand new. This is here. This is cutting edge.
And nobody's talking about it in any of their videos. This is one of those things I'm surprised.
But that's what I'm frustrated by is like every time I point that kind of stuff out, I've got a bunch of people regurgitating other tech influencers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like who's really, I mean, yeah, it's such a nice luxury and privilege to be able to own nice computers and nice cameras and only use your nice phone to cover the basics. Like I'm so tired of that color of commentary where here I'm going to pick up this $1,000 plus phone, but I'm only going to use it to do the absolute bare minimum social media, and that's not the gig. And so
Yep.
if you're not trying to use your phone for laptop displacement style computing,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm looking it up on Swapper right now. A Galaxy S20 5G, an S20 plus 5G is easily found around $500.
The Ultra is about $680. The Ultra.
And you know what? I would even maybe say walk away from the Ultra because I do feel Samsung kind of failed on the autofocus, especially when you were looking at the space zoom. That might be one perk over the S21 Ultra is you can finally use the camera.
Like I said, I was trying to find the silver lining of the Y, but I can tell you right now, it never was unusable. The way it was described, the way it was
I don't know, man. I was poking around that note, and it is very spookily inconsistent, and for me that becomes a question.
And that was the improvement. That was the improvement,
and that's the improved version. I mean, like, so this is also compounded by the fact that one of the highlights of my week for our podcast called The Best of Our Week is Sony is letting me borrow test drive an
nice
S3.
So, dude, welcome to the club. That's what we're talking about right now.
I mean, I'm not using it for this stream, but going
tisk, my friend. How can you not use the best camera you have in the office?
But playing with Sony autofocus on the Xperia.
Sony did a trick on me this week. Did you get the update? Did you get an update?
Yeah, it made me so crazy.
I was so happy. I was like, yes, it's finally here. I updated and it was like, no, it was a security patch update. I was like, what? Come on, Sony. We need it. We need this happening.
And what's funny is I just got a heads up, like on Reddit, that the Android 11 updates are starting to roll out for
on the original. Oh, the original? Really?
The original Xperia one, and like we don't even have Android 11 on the Xperia one yet.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry. I'm not bagging. It was just
The point I was trying to get at and getting back to Samsung is this echo chamber, this toxic little echo chamber that just trumps up Samsung, and it's not earned. I'm sorry. You use these devices and they're good. They're very good devices. They do not deserve the de facto. This is the standard that represents Android. And one of the things that really leaned into me for that was using the Note 20 Ultra, how spookily inconsistent that autofocus was, and then picking up an Xperia where it's like Skynet image recognition. My daughter's running around and it goes snick, and there's a little green box on her eye. And it's
crazy good.
So
crazy.
Fast.
Alpha level crazy good. But but I'm happy that you're able to check out that, because I think you played with the A7 III. They let you borrow the A7 III last year, I think, or something like that, right? I remember we talked about it because they let me borrow a few lenses for the A7 III last year. It was a lot of fun. So full frame Sony, baby.
That's all I have. It's like, from my Panasonics. I mean, like this is my G85. That's what I kind of stream on. I have a ridiculous camera to stream on, and I've got a G9 that I shoot most of my actual content on, and it's doing fine. It really is. It's a fine camera. Oh man, this is so tempting. This is like really hard not getting pulled over to the Sony side playing with this camera.
Yeah. I bit the bullet when I went with the A7 III. And then from there, I had to change my main camera. So I switched from Lumix, from Panasonic. I went over. So I got rid of. I didn't get rid of it. I sold my GH5, and I think Rolando did the same thing. I love it. I love the fact, and now I'm buying more lenses for it. Full frame all the way, my friend. But yeah, I wish we could hang out. I wish we could go to the Japanese garden again and take pictures with the brand new A7S3 that
And
you have.
I was just messing around. I just gotten the memory card in. I just attached the lens. I mean, I don't even know how to use this camera yet. You know, you get that organic feel for where all the buttons are.
Absolutely.
Lexicon's running in, and I'm in manual mode.
Mhm.
And you know, I hadn't set any of the settings, but just on a whim, I kind of tilt the camera up and I half press the button and it locks on her eye. And I push the shutter button while she's like running around, and the photo is just crystal. It is just tack sharp.
Yep.
It's
crazy.
insane. And
Well, I hope they included a few lenses. I obviously they probably did.
I mean, all they did to run with, and here I'll yank it over here, is the 1635 f2.8, and it's just kind of like a general, you know, test it out. But
look at you, they gave a cage. I like.
Well, because you know, I focus a little bit more on video these days, and that was one of the major things. Is I want a camera that has the flip around.
So that's actually, so just for reference, they say the A7 III is more of a photography camera. The A7S III is more of a video, although they perform well both ways. But from a videographer, it's really more of a video camera.
And so because that's what I was talking to them about, they were like, oh, well, hey, we also have a small rig. Do you want it? And I'm like, yeah.
So totally weird story. I actually have one on order that's coming from B&H, which is weird. It's the only one you can find, by the way. I don't know if you've ever looked it up. It's the only cage setup that you have that you can find like a decent one that works.
Yeah.
I've been having a little weird setup here with the A7S III that I have with the camera, and I'm trying to separate and trying to build things around, and I want to stabilize my HDMI cable and run the wire. So the whole concept for me, absolutely. I hope you like it. If you decide to switch over, welcome to the club. If you don't, it's okay. It's a Sony. It'll bring you back.
Probably not gonna budget for this year, but man,
this one is
it's gonna be itching at me the whole
it's
time.
A steep price. You put you put the camera in the lens, and you might as well just skip mortgage payments at that point. I saved up a lot for a while. But yes, congrats.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. We've got a bunch of comments and stuff in here, and I mean, like Natalie has been talking about, you know, sort of Exynos performance, and
yes. And I was actually going to say Andrew's in the comments as well. So we saw some leaks. We saw some leaks with the S21, sorry, the Exynos benchmarks and stuff, and they're trying to basically, you know, do comparisons between the two. Let's just get this one real quick out of the way. I want to say thanks to Armadillo Tech, our old buddy. There's a massive shipment of things that I'm waiting for. Apparently that got sent over to me by Armadillo Tech. Thank you very much. That is waiting for me in my PO box, and I need to go pick up. So with that being said, thank you very much for the super chat. Always appreciated. Let me see if we can grab. Hold on. There's Josh, our buddy Josh Quinones. I want to say,
hey Josh,
congrats on the ad. Congrats on the first. He was featured in a Verizon ad that also came out. Very big buddy of mine there from a while back.
Right on.
Andrew, Mr. Fat Produce. I've been too spoiled with dual screen phones to be excited for any regular single screen slab devices. That is true. That's the one feature we missed out on this year. We didn't see that. But you were talking about. Hold on, let me see real quick. Are you able to select comments, or is it only on my side?
I don't think I can do it. I'm not driving this boat.
Oh, here it is, Natalie. Okay, I see. Natalie was it was more close. Okay, so here. Okay, we had a few from Natalie. It was actually one. Okay, a few in a series. So first, so Natalie Roth saying is not to mention the new embargo. Every reviewer not to talk about the Exynos performance.
Well, here's what I want to. I mean, not necessarily to kind of comment on that, but this is the thing that is so critically frustrating about our industry, and why I'm kind of over watching a lot of tech reviews. Is not that you guys shouldn't stop watching our shows, because we're awesome. You should keep watching us.
Totes always, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Totes my goats. So the thing that bothers me is we've got like a week where a new gadget or a new piece of tech is super buzzworthy hot on social media, and then it ebbs out. And Samsung hasn't even started shipping this generation of Exynos, and we're already on the hype train because Well, AMD announced a partnership with Samsung, and we're going to be talking about, some AMD
GPUs. Yeah.
So this entire year for Samsung is basically a non-starter. You should just wait until, we're already rumor milling and hyping next year's Exynos before any of this year's chipset
are even out,
have even made it into anyone's hands.
Consumers' hands, because there's a few reviewers that have them, but
I don't know. The advertising arm of YouTube for Samsung at this point, and especially with my own personal experiences with Samsung as a brand, if you're on Sam Apple's teams and you're getting that kind of early access, it's because they know there's going to be a particular flavor of narrative that is going to be a highlight feature reel, not someone that's actually critically analyzing the phone, and whether or not it's a hater or someone who actually I feel delivers.
All of the stuff we saw today was very top level, very
surface level.
Very surface, which is
from Microsoft's lessons last year. I think all manufacturers are now going to be highly manicuring.
I was about to hit on that point right away. That whole first oh my god, the duo where everybody could not show the screen. There was no way.
Let's reenact the early duo embargo release.
That first week.
Wow, and that was it. That's all you could do.
I was going to say, and can you show us the screen? Not yet. No. But after the launch, after you can get it at the store, the day of.
No, TK, no. Bad TK.
Oh, man.
Driving to Best Buy and looking at this offer.
I was about to say, that was the only reason why I drove to almost 6 Best Buys to find that phone, because nobody could do it.
No. Bad.
Best Buy will not let me in anymore.
You're a scamp, TK.
They have a face picture. Yeah. But in all honesty, yes, this is the week that most people are going to be searching, looking, really, like where the word S21 is going to be really just there, is the week that we're probably not going to see very much in-depth analysis. We're probably going to see them more closer to the actual launch event. That's typically what we see when people are able to actually buy it. So closer to the end of the month. But we'll see a few pieces here and there. Today, my entire timeline was S20, S21. And the timing, just to kind of echo Natalie's comment, they embargoed the timing of the videos of the creators, the YouTube creator realm, I guess, at the beginning of the launch, which for me was, I didn't really need to watch the launch. I got what I needed out of a couple of YouTube videos, which the launch didn't talk anything about the SD card. They didn't talk about the MST. They didn't talk about all the things that I really cared, like the fast charging being only 25 and all those things.
You missed the explanation of the color black, where they spent more time on the color black than they did any other feature on the phone.
You mean this black?
No, Samsung invented black, Phantom black.
Phantom black.
TK, you're holding up mirror black. That's different, and that
is true. I can see myself in this. I can see you. Can you see yourself in this?
Just the fact that you just held that up to the camera makes me want to throw up in my mouth, because
I'm not even letting it focus.
Is the now. You're living in the past. Okay. That is so 2020, and we're all over 2020. 2020 was bad, and anything that came out of 2020 is bad. So they reinvented black, and I'm being really pissy here about this, but yeah, they spent more time talking about the design language of a new frosted matte finished glass back. And let me take that back. In second place, they spent almost as much time talking about how portrait mode and selfies work. For this revolutionary new camera system, which is the exact same camera system that we had on the S20s and the Note 20s.
I was going to say there's not much, and not only that, One UI 3.0 has already been out. This is not earth-shattering. Okay, so they invented they invented black, which I'm happy they finally did. Phantom black, you said. I don't know. I guess this is not good enough anymore. Then I'm gonna have to
again. I just want to point this out. You know, like they were talking about director mode, and I've got like a multicam selector mode on my TCL 10 Pro. But if you had to make me choose, I kind of like gradient gray to black.
I like gradients a lot. OnePlus did a really good job for a while till they changed the coloring concept. But yeah, gradient. Remember the Thunder Purple OnePlus 6T?
That I've got it right over there.
Yeah,
it's over in my bookcase. I'm never letting that phone go. It's so pretty.
As aesthetics, the design, the colors, OnePlus, I have to say, they make some really nice limited edition, which we haven't seen. By the way, other than the Cyberpunk edition, we haven't really seen much in the last year or so. That was something I miss. Like I remember with the 7 Pro, right? They had like 4 colors, and there was that almond color one. That was like that unique.
Yeah, I mean, last year I kind of feel it was just the OnePlus 8. Got that really dynamic, like rainbow hyper,
super nice, shiny, interesting color. Don't get me wrong, I love the color on the OnePlus 8 Pro. That was a nice color, and then the Nord kind of went with that whole greenish tone, depending on how you look at it. Short answer: we need gradients, and okay, so they have new colors. They didn't talk anything about the. I don't know. Anyways, it's one of those weird things. At the end of the day, base storage of 128 is also echoing the same thing we had with the whole Note series, right? They started them all at 128, but then you don't have expandable storage with the standard Note 20. You have to go to the Note 20 Ultra to get it, but then apparently the Note 20 Ultra, I think, is the last Samsung phone to carry an SD card. I don't think that's going to come back with the Note 21 or whatever they called, if there is a Note series. I think this is literally they've drawn the line, and they said this is basically where we're going. There's no reason to add that, and you should just basically keep buying higher memory storage. And I think Natalie had a really good point there, where she said, I think the base storage so I think it's $11.99 for the base storage on the S20 Ultra, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, to get the higher end, you're in the $1,300 to get those things.
And yeah, like I can look at some other phones. I mean, like we can point to OnePluses that have never had expandable storage, and
for the longest time, yeah.
And I get kind of like the back and forth, and I can understand in a market where Apple kind of gets to dictate what the future trends are going to be for profitability. I understand. I don't want my Samsung to be more like an iPhone. I used to love Samsung because they were, in almost every respect, the opposite
exactly
of an iPhone. And now we keep running into this casual lack of education. Well, I mean, consumers aren't doing these, using these features that we never talk about. And you're like, you could still put out a commercial today saying like, hey, isn't it silly how much more you need to spend to upgrade the storage of your phone? Wouldn't it be better if you just popped in a memory card? That is a thing.
That was their thing. That was their story. That was their whole.
And I'm sad because I'm getting the sneaking suspicion that we're probably going to see a bunch of other manufacturers copy this move. I'm going to be very curious. Like, follow up LG. Is it going to have a headphone jack? Is it going to have a quad DAC? Is it going to have memory card expansion? I'm really anxious.
We may be on it. We may be so for reference, though. I do need to mention that there is there's always been the conversation of the I would say it is a conversation to internal storage versus expandable storage. And what I mean by that is access and read and write, and of course a whole bunch of things of how Android runs. If you notice, Android or Google does not release any smartphone with an SD card. That's because they want to rely on the faster internal storage. I understand that. I get that. But to present it in this way, to take away a feature that Samsung was touting for the longest time as a feature that they offered, and then piecemealing the upgrade cycle. So the base model, the 128 without expandable storage, is $1,200. Mm-hmm. That's a big up from last year where you had expandable storage at that price. When you had that with the Note, the options that we're getting right now are very. I can't even, like I said, it's a weird. I understand what they're trying to do. I understand that they're trying to gear or shift the conversation. They're trying to move us away. They're trying to basically say,
but
hey, you want a charger, you pay for it.
let's
You
look
want
at some comparable pricing tiers, like OnePlus 8T. That doesn't have expandable storage. What
true,
did they
but
start
that's
you at?
well, it starts you at $799. They're not even close to that price point. That's the other part. And not only that, by the end of the
But I
year,
mean,
the
like, how
1.8
much storage do they start you off on?
oh,
The on the
256. I think it's
256.
It's 256 across the board. I don't think they have any other storage
LG
wise.
Win is a
Oh,
$1,000 phone that starts you off at 256.
I think Sony was also at 256, if I'm not mistaken.
Xperia 1 is, I believe Xperia 5 is 128, but you've got
Yes.
memory card support.
No.
and
Well,
the
that was what I was
headphone
going to say. And dual SIM support. And so there's the whole conversation kind of, comes back full circle. When you have so many other options on the market that do provide you options, the SD card, like I said, at some point or another, I felt like that was going to happen. But my problem with it, one of my problems, this is a true story from the Note series. I had purchased 2 Note devices, a Note 20 and a Note 20 Ultra. The Note 20 Ultra was ultimately going to be mine, and I was going to give the Note 20 to my wife. The day came when I was done with the Note 20. I was ready basically just upgrade her from the Note 10. She had a Note 10, which surprisingly had a 256 base storage. I don't know how. Samsung did it back then. I couldn't upgrade her and carry all, because my wife likes to have her own media, all of that stuff. That all of that had to transfer. I couldn't transfer all her data and fit it into the 128. She had gone beyond the 128 gigs of storage. That was a big problem for me, because for me to upgrade her, to get her to enjoy her new device, the biggest thing that she cared about was, obviously, she likes Samsung, she loves the camera tech, but it was really just carrying those images and those memories that she likes to be able to pull whenever she wants.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up having to, get rid of the 20 and then basically we upgraded her to the Note 20 Ultra. But to me, that shouldn't be the story. That should not be the path. And I fell for it. I fell for it inadvertently, because I didn't double check my wife's internal storage usage before making my decision on picking it up. Because I pretty much knew that the Note 20 for me was not I wasn't going to keep that. The Note 20 Ultra was always going to be there. But to kind of like circle it back a little bit. There was a lot of things announced this morning. I felt like there was a lot of things missing from these announcements, and we're not going to see them. They didn't touch on any of those conversations. And I really wanted to actually ask, when they talked about the processor and the performance of the processor in their conversation or their statements, they weren't talking about the Qualcomm. I don't think they were. I think they were talking about the Exynos.
But does it matter?
Not really, but it was like, it really doesn't. That's true.
Talking about a press conference that had that reek, that stench of average people use these phones. And even Samsung is doing a terrible job of actually celebrating the fact that consumers are more likely to pick up, in the grand bell curve of consumers, they're more likely to pick up an A50 or an A70 series.
More than likely, which is where they make their money. Yeah.
They're going to sell millions of these Galaxy S's, but the sales numbers are going to be a disappointment compared to sort of the heyday of the Galaxy S as a $650 phone. That ship has sailed, and in a world of 5G, there are better compromises to make if you're looking at something that's kind of mainstream, mid-ranger, average consumer focused. The Galaxy S21 is not it.
So do you think that the S21, the base model S21 is really is the same thing that they did with the Note 20? It's a straight upsell, because it's a very,
I mean, how could it not be? Again, the S21 is the love child of the Note 20 and the Galaxy S20 FE. It's everything we can do to make it look the same, but we're gonna make it out of less expensive materials. If you make a phone out of plastic, I want it to look like a premium, nice polycarb. I don't want it to look like a cheap, shiny glass, because
with the paint job.
Well, but even without a paint job, it's got that kind of sheer, shiny look to it. Yeah, the second you take it out of a case, if that plastic starts to get worn, it's going to look like garbage.
And it will. This is the weird part about it. What most people say, what you hear about them, is they say that basically, oh, it looks nice, it's kind of interesting, it's plastic, or whatever. Plastic will, you are going to basically scratch that. There's no question that you're more likely to you scuff it, you do something on it, and there's no way to buff it out. There's no way to get rid of it. There's no way to,
But
there's no protectors
if
for
you
it other
made
than
the
a case.
phone out of a premium polycarb and it's not paint, then when you scratch that polycarb, it is the same color underneath. And I've got a whole shelf of Lumias that look flippin' awesome that I've never put cases on them because they were made out of a better material. I don't care if it's glass. I actually don't think glass is nice. I'm fine walking away from glass, but I don't want plastic that looks like cheap glass. Yeah, I'm done with that being the material science. I actually had to tag OnePlus because they're trying to make their glass look like aluminum, and their plastic phones are trying to look like glass. And like the material science is just all wrong. Just it's all over the place, just wrong. And now Samsung is doing the same thing. So people slept on the OnePlus 8 Pro last year, but you had a true Quad HD screen that could sustain 120 hertz. Now on Samsung land, you got to go to the Ultra. At $999,
and it's variable. It's variable. They went with the Note side, and this. So
actually, to be fair, I bet you the OnePlus 8 Pro kind of plays fast and loose with refresh rate. It doesn't need to. Also, I mean,
but I don't think it's variable in the way that they were converting it. So there's the step conversion where it jumps from one refresh to the other.
I know what you mean, but I'm just saying like. It's been frustrating because like a OnePlus 8 Pro at $999 was a 256 gig phone with a camera sensor that was almost as large as the main camera on the S20 Ultra, and is still, I mean, like one of the only phones that could shoot 4K 60 frames per second and switch between the main sensor and the ultra wide. And the ultra wide was a larger sensor than most premium phones had last year. The ultra wide on the OnePlus 8 Pro is a larger sensor and is a better HDR performer than what Apple is putting into the iPhone 12 Pro. So sleep on that phone. Oh no, OnePlus has lost the plot. They came out with $1,000 phone. And now look at the garbage that Samsung is trying to sell this year in whittling back, in scaling back, making you buy extra accessories, copying every move from Apple, getting rid of memory card storage, starting you at 128 gigabytes of storage, using the same hardware, the same camera sensors, reducing the screen resolution. Oh, but the S21 is launching at a lower price than the S20 did. Samsung just knows how to treat us so right.
Absolutely. And I think if we say anything else, it's wrong. You really need to just appreciate what happened today. It was a big event. And I don't want to kind of spend the entire show about it. I realize that there's still a lot of conversation to be had.
Let's wrap it up.
Sure.
Are you getting one?
I'm not going to deny that. Yes. I am going to get that on T-Mobile. Yes.
All right. I am seriously considering not. Okay. I mean, like what I might do is quietly borrow one from a friend after the main coverage is out. And then if you're on my Patreon, I'll throw out like a camera review because it's going to be exactly the same as the camera.
Just use the same footage and transfer it over. No, I think what we could do, I think it's a good collaboration for us to actually take a look at what they're offering. If you want to be able to, we can do the similar conversation that we did last time.
We can try and tag team it. Let's
that's the short answer version of that. But it's not that the end of the day, the conversation is there's the what you see on paper, what other people are referencing right now, which essentially is the high reel of basically the highlight points almost, because we want to start seeing some of the real conversations on it. And I feel like if it's something that you and I are able to give our opinion on, I think it would basically have just more weight than just as opposed to somebody that sees the stream and says, well, they don't even hold the phone, they don't even know what's going on. The reality is, we will put basically our word to the test. Let's work it out. Hopefully, when shipments start coming out, because I know I'm not going to get the device. There's no question. I'm not even on any radar. I got lucky one time. I won a competition, and I was able to go to a launch event, the S10. And it was a really nice little short burst of whatever.
So here's the thing. I mean,
Sure.
on Twitch, the Suku one is saying I should get one as a reference device. I do not believe that anything Samsung has put out should be held up to any kind of standard where it's the comparable reference point. I
I like this
I
one, some
don't.
moderator guy.
Oh yeah, we had a troublemaker on Twitch, and he just got the ban hammer. And I'm assuming it was a he. Uh, so I am going to be very interested in how 2021 plays out. And in 2020, I really felt it was toxic to talk about phones just based loosely on price. So I didn't feel there was a phone of the year. I didn't feel there was one
That's true.
standout hit that defined what the smartphone experience should be. Even Apple put out 4 phones, 4 or 5 different tiers of devices. There was no one it factor. So I don't feel but that by joining the conversation, even to tell people not to buy the S21, that it does the Android community any service to act like the S21 is the standard by which other phones should be judged.
No.
I feel like it's time for us to grow up. It's time for us to move on and acknowledge that like we're doing a terrible job of actually handling the needs and budgets of our family and friends. They're not listening to us as techies anymore. This is an insular gatekeeper bubble of gadget nerddom. And instead, if we're going to go and look at a crazy expensive phone, let's actually judge it by some of these outlandish claims that the manufacturer makes. If we're going to hold up a Samsung, I'm going to treat it with the same kind of scrutiny that I hold up, the aspirational marketing claims of an iPhone.
Yeah.
They're so over the top, and those phones never live up to what the manufacturers claim that they're supposed to.
Some of the images I saw in their announcement were also they looked pretty, like that one night shot where they were talking about the HDR processing where it brings up all the light.
The woman was out of focus.
That's what I was saying. I was like, who vetted that statement? Who vetted
camera
that?
Focused on the landscape, and I'm already twitchy about Samsung Focus. And if you really do care about capturing your memories in a more photographic quality, and you've not handled a Sony, then you are missing out on the premier, the gold tier, lock the focus on your subject solution. And Samsung ain't it.
Focus on a smartphone is crazy nice.
Samsung ain't it.
I know, but I'm saying it when I saw that, I cringed a little bit when I saw like that's the picture you're telling people this is your performance, this is what it does.
And like Samsung spends so much on marketing, and they put together so many press conferences, and I know you don't want to pull a Huawei where maybe you use a photo from a mirrorless camera and you try and pass it off as a photo from one of your, what was that? Was it the Mate 10 that they did that with one of the?
I want to say either the Mate 20. Was it the Mate 20? No, yeah, maybe the Mate 20. I want to say the Mate. It was a Mate. Yeah.
It was a couple years back, and it wasn't a reason. But again, it's like I understand Samsung doesn't want to do that. How about you just choose a photo where the subject's in focus?
I would have picked that. But then I don't know. I guess I don't know what I'm doing.
To tell Samsung PR executives how to do their jobs. They are definitely way better at this than I could be.
I'm glad you saw the same picture I saw, and I was like, oh my god. Okay, yes. So yes,
so hilarious.
Let's put the proverbial S Pen back into the silo that is now a case that you need to. I don't know how to end this one. I'm trying to be poetic.
Let's move on.
CES was the other big thing going on already. It's not a weekend. Yeah, the best of our week is not today at 7 a.m.
Don't buy the S21. And TK and I will try and do some fun videos on a Samsung.
Just for reference, I do jump on the
watch those videos out of a morbid curiosity without ever having to spend your own money. But if you're going to buy a Samsung in early 2021, I think the smart money's on Galaxy S20.
Yep. If you need a Samsung, if you need to stick with the Samsung ecosystem, then I would say the S20 line is very, very reasonably priced. And not only that, still, I think, has more features. It has more features.
I found, I mean, again, I was just kind of poking through Swappa. I found in very good condition an S20 5G, and for
it was the P9, by the way. So
oh,
Jose Montero is
that's right, because of the Leica and the depth
Leica branding. Yeah. Thank you, Jose. Appreciate that. Sorry.
But if you need DeX, S20. And I'm telling you, that will be a brilliant experience. Even if you're coming from like an S9, the S20 is still going to feel like an upgrade. I feel the camera sensors are better.
Oh yeah.
Or at least the autofocus is more reliable.
Or even possibly LG.
well, no. I specifically said it this way because I'm definitely like LG shill guy. But out of all the phones that I used last year, if your criteria is some kind of laptop style computing, DeX is great. And honestly, I mean, I love the LG desktop mode is a little bit more polished up than Android's stock version. DeX is the gig. But if you can get away with a lesser desktop mode, yeah, obviously. I mean, people have been sending me eBay deals on V60s for like $350. So I mean, like, that's a lot of phone.
That is a lot of phone for $400. Oh my God. Okay. Yes. Yeah. No, there's no question. We're not trying to say one over the other. I get it. You're right. It's more of the where the ecosystem that you'd like to be in, and reality is actually in 2021. I feel like even DeX surpasses what EMUI Desktop is offering us, which I feel like that at one point the EMUI was kind of head to head, but now they're moving up. Yeah, the OnePlus 9 is coming up soon. So those are obviously some things coming up down the line. The OnePlus 9, other devices, but what was that other big event that happened this week?
What was that? I don't remember. I don't think there was anything else that happened.
Nothing happened before the 7 a.m. this morning.
Samsung existed. Nah, we already teased CES. It's okay.
I know. I kid. I had to make a little transition. You know.
Did you have a good CES? Did you have a good show?
I had a less stressful CES. I can say that much. And by stressful, I mean I wasn't running around everywhere. It was very different for me this year. I had to juggle day job and CES at the same time because I didn't take time off, which typically I do to focus on CES. So it's hard. It's hard being the remote CES is obviously a needed thing. There's no question. This year it had to be CES. Why, remote. I applaud Showstoppers, all the other companies that did the virtual events, and they still try to give everybody access to all the information. But it was a hard, big thing for me. Like I saw a few really amazing announcements this week. TCL blew my mind. Oh my God, TCL. And then LG comes around, and then Sony comes around, and then you're getting the big hits. So there was a lot of nice things. Let's just say that Razer with their face mask. I'm like, sell me Hazel now. I want Hazel now. There was quite a few. I think it was nice. I honestly I appreciated all the announcements, and I am definitely looking forward to. Actually, believe it or not, I may consider this year switching over to AMD when it comes down to their GPUs, not just the CPU. I've been on their team AMD for a few years now with Ryzen's chipsets, but I think I may have to switch over my GPU as well because I'm really excited about what they're bringing in, and it seems like there's just they can only go further and better and faster and cheaper.
It was really interesting, especially for the AMD keynote. Dr. Lisa Su, you gotta love, like, because she's such a badass. Like, she takes a stage and she's just like, "Well, here are a bunch of benchmarks. Our product rocks." And you're like, "Oh, yeah, I agree."
Rockstar attitude without shame. She owns it. Absolutely.
So also, like my hook, my trigger, my salivatory glands are always going to be linked to better competition. So in the GPU space, seeing AMD hitting this competitive again, that's very exciting. But the thing that I'm going to be most anxious to see is actually the laptop game. Is seeing the 5000 series Ryzens in laptops and notebooks. And I got real excited because Panos Panay comes out during the AMD keynote, and I'm like, oh, are we going to get an AMD Surface? Are you going to finally give it? Oh no, you're talking about Xbox. Okay. Yeah, I get it.
She hinted at it. I mean, she covered it quite a bit when they started talking about the the GPU power and what's powering your next gen systems.
But did you catch how she made a very specific point of saying that the AMD Ryzen 5000 chips were going to be the fastest x86 laptop.
She said x80, and I was like very surprised.
It was like articulated. It was like
x86, and I'm like, whoa.
We're quietly having to acknowledge that Juan was right about ARM processors all along.
I was like, what? Like, seriously? No, absolutely. I think ARM has a massive future in front of it, and I think we're all going to be benefiting from that at some point when we start having more competition in that realm. But no, absolutely. I think, like I said, the biggest thing I miss about this year is the fact that I could not touch any of these things. I was not able to test them out. Last year, I had a ton of fun in the AMD booth at the Venetian. Not the booth, their own. They actually rent out a whole area in the hotel. There's like a massive conference room. So those rooms, oh my god! Like, and realistically, if you not that you can, but even if you could find an an NVIDIA GPU, it's AMD's presence, AMD's prowess is the reason why the 30 series supposedly MSRP style starts lower for more. They're having to step up their game. They're no longer just sitting in at that top tier saying, look, we just have everything. And that's one of the reasons, like I said, that's one of the reasons I'm truly thinking about switching over GPU wise, to get the benefits of what we get directly from AMD. And I feel like that was one of my biggest thing that I was very excited about. Project Hazel was a nice little thing. I mean, Razer put out some new updated laptops and so on, which we expect. But Project Hazel was actually nice. LG had, by the way, I forgot the name of it. The LG Life face mask. Like we're starting to see, big tech companies that last year were producing PPEs for service people and so on and everything, to actually start trying to figure out how to make an upgraded tech related product like this. So those two are really excited. Unfortunately, Hazel it's a CES event, right? So Hazel right now is a concept.
But there was another company. I'm trying to pull it up right now. Sorry, that's why I'm kind of looking off to my other monitor.
No. That's it. Yeah. No, definitely.
I got review requests from a couple other manufacturers that are also making like UV enabled vented plastic face guards.
Okay.
So I mean, like, yeah. Well, Razer's putting that in. They have the RGBs.
So just for reference, or before everybody ends up, it works. It will not work with this face mask. No. This every time I don't like quitting face mask, but obviously I do. But this thing gets so messed up, it's not even funny. So imagine this with a see-through glass. I don't want you to see that. If I had to put it a request, I would ask for a matte black, or maybe that new Phantom Black that Samsung just invented.
I mean, now that you can get black. Real quick, speaking of Samsung, I did find the photo of the woman in the low light test. If you want me to screen share it real quick.
Sure. Yeah. Let's see that beautiful picture.
So
of the background.
Sorry. There.
Yeah. Let's see. So this was the image.
This is one of the worst night mode photos I've seen from any phone, and it happens to be the photo that they used in a keynote conference to show off the new phone.
They obviously showed this.
Awful.
It's not an image you would share and be proud of. It's not one of those. It's not.
Look at how like the floor, like highlights and texture on the floor are blown out. She's out of focus. Her face is still underexposed. This was what they showed off for that 108 megapixel ultra camera sensor. This is hot garbage.
I was very
And again, if you've done any like silly absolute like no business pointing your camera at a subject low light photography on a OnePlus 8 Pro, that I have to believe OnePlus would have wrecked this Samsung example here. This is so bad, and I can't believe this is what they chose to highlight in a mixed dynamic range environment where you can do like almost no light style night photos.
Yep.
Even out of an LG.
I think an LG, a Pixel. I think most other devices would have done a much better. Just that processing. Just to me, when I saw that, I was like, "That's not a good example. I don't know why you're showing this and you're standing there saying this was a good image." But
Anyway,
I do want. Yeah,
we can get back to CES. I just felt like I needed to backtrack there.
Thank you for bringing her back.
Yeah, the Razer thing was kind of fun. I also liked their gamer chair with the scroll out display.
That display, dude, that is cool. Like futuristic. Again, those are the things.
It looked a little like Wall-E, like floating chairs in Wall-E, but it seems to be pretty cool. What were
No, go ahead. I was going to say,
because you were bringing up TCL. I kind of feel like one of the things that made me really happy to see
TCL and LG, both.
Well, again, I'm the LG shill guy, but one of the things, and I had to immediately fire off a bunch of emails to TCL product reps and PR. It was their concept for a wearable cinema display. Because like we haven't seen something like that really taken seriously since Sony did it, I want to say 6 years ago. The Sony 3D cinema display. It was that giant. It looked like a VR visor, but it wasn't. It was to make you feel like you
I tried those glasses, by the way, last year when I was at CES. Again, when no, TCLs.
Oh, the TCLs.
Yeah, they had they had the concept in the room, but they didn't really talk about it.
But going from concept to actually saying like this is a product that's going to ship this year,
it's a product.
I am so silly excited that someone is trying this again. I'm hoping we can get like phone powered VR and AR kind of back into the swing. I even pulled down, I've got like a Daydream up on my bookshelf.
What's a Daydream? What is Daydream, man? What?
The thing, the tech that we will no longer ever speak of because Google.
Yes, obviously.
Projects. It never existed.
It never existed. I have two headsets here, the Cardboard and Daydream, sitting here doing.
So, but here's what got me thinking though. TCL isn't making even. They've got one phone with the 700 series processor. They're firmly in that 670, 690 territory. And if they're coming out with a powered cinema display to watch content, maybe even to play games on, especially when you're traveling, that is a really big deal. I want to see more of that, bringing that kind of mid-range powered experience to content consumption is kind of huge. And from a company that like legitimately built their rep on like TVs, right? TVs and streaming services and building Rokus into TVs and doing all that. Like
Roku is crazy popular right now. I've seen some metrics of how many there were. Yeah.
That's so bad.
You're gonna love it. It's really nice.
Far and away for the mobile space, that was the one announcement I think made me the most excited, was to see a company coming back to try and do a sort of cinema style experience. It feels refreshingly free of gimmicks. It's not phone powered VR for limited apps or games that don't really kind of work. I just want to see, like, I really want to see what a tailored, streamlined, focused media consumption experience can be like on their phones.
I'm trying to find that picture for you just to prove that I actually did use one of them.
I believe you, TK.
It was one of those very, very surprising and very, very satisfying experience, because it was sitting in the room and it was sitting all the way in the back that nobody was even talking about, because they had the foldable last year. Remember, we had that clamshell that we saw, TCL bringing that up.
Well, and they showed the scrolls this year.
So I realized you were excited about the glasses, but I wanted a scroll. I want to scroll so bad. I want to be able to come up to you one day and say, Juan, hold on a second. Let me check what's going on. Exactly. Yeah, not happening today. I am so sorry. Maybe next time. Or I love that one scene they did it where the guy was in the jungle. He comes up, he opens it up all the way, and it's flat. I'm like, printed. Oh, I'm like, yes. That needs to happen. there was that other one they also put out, which was their version of the Z Flip. If there was a version they could do where it was literally it goes from, this is me badly acting.
Yeah.
It goes from a square. Let's say this is the phone square, right? And then it goes from square to what? The phone is there, and that was actually cool. So yeah,
I'm telling you, I know people that I like are really into foldables. I know you've got.
We're gonna see 3 foldables this year.
No, this is just it though.
Sorry, I meant rollable. I said not foldable. I said the wrong word. There's going to be 3.
That's the point. I am getting. I've kind of figured out why I'm not quite as impressed with a foldable, as like. Sorry, I tried to say like 3 different sentences all at the same time. I kind of snapped on why I'm not as impressed by foldables, and the idea of taking twice as much phone to collapse and fit into a pocket doesn't seem as techie or as futuristic. And especially after talking with some of the TCL reps, just the fact that we can bend the OLED, that's not the hard part. The hard part is putting that into some kind of frame or some kind of structure that is lifestyle durable. And the easiest way to do that is to give you the full thickness of 2 phones when it's collapsed and when it's folded shut. And because you can't close them perfectly flat, it's a little bit more than twice the thickness because you always have to have some kind of gap or some kind of taper. And so scrollables solve this in a fundamentally different way where the form factor that actually lives in your pocket isn't going to be twice as much phone.
No,
it's going to be a little bit thicker than a normal phone, but that makeup compact form factor looks so much cooler to me than like a Motorola Razr or a Z Flip. Like cute little pocket phone for kind of like a pocket smartwatch. And then when I want the full phone experience, I push a button and I have my full phone screen. Like that is everything that I wanted out of like a Z Flip, minus all the things I don't want
out of
a Z Flip.
And the exciting part is that we have TCL, LG, and Oppo all doing rollables, all roughly doing similar tech. The presence that so the TCL, the LG, and the Oppo, I think it was the Oppo Find X. I forgot what it was. They showed it at the last year at the end of their innovation day, and it was really like a very interesting. They all seem to provide us a similar experience, and only Oppo, I think, showed us a little bit of their mechanism where they were showing the fold, the rolling. I think was it like a fabric, like a metal fabric frame that rolls out with the frame. The answer is yes. I'm excited with what new tech we're going to see this year. I think I can predict already that the Z Fold 3 is pretty much outshined, and it's not even out yet. This is the weird part about it. I don't think people are going to look at folding. They're going to look at rolling because I think that's the true form factor. Because once you've used it, when you said 2 phones topped on each other, that's not including the case, my friend. Try to put 2 phones with cases on top of each other. It's a chunker. Don't get me wrong. I use it. This is a phone that obviously I paid my own money for. But that's one thing you don't, I'm not going to carry a phone in any shape, way, or form without a case.
To that same token, I mean, I think it joins the conversation. Like I really liked the video that TechAlter put out on the Z Fold 2, because he had a lot of praise for the actual mechanics, like the actual construction and the engineering. I don't think anyone faults that. I agree with him, especially after using my Duo, that I think they picked the wrong orientation for where it should fold. And I think it should fold on the opposite axis from the axis that it does fold on, because I feel like you're, and I mean, again, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I'm not saying I feel you. I don't mean you specifically, TK, or someone who has a Z Fold, but I feel the Z Fold is always in between a screen that's probably just a little too skinny and a screen that's just a little too square. And if it had folded on the other dimension, which would actually be a lot closer to the folding style of my Duo, then you probably wouldn't have those same kind of form factor issues. I think your main outer display would be more functional and your main inner display would still be the same. It would still be kind of a squarish screen, but you'd be holding it sideways as its normal orientation.
I do tend to hold it. So just for point of reference, typically when I'm holding my phone, so for Juan's point, so here's the Z Fold 2. When I typically have it, and I'm using it on the outer display, you're right. It is too skinny of a display. It doesn't format quite well everywhere. When I open it up, and let's say I'm sharing something with my wife or with my son, I typically will open up the phone and turn it.
Yeah.
I always have to do that because that's the orientation where it gives me the full image as in desktop or landscape mode, which is what I wanted to see,
It's
which is what's already
like
on.
Duo
Exactly.
in its natural sort of landscape orientation.
And this one is, it's not exactly 60. It's not the right format. It's just a little bit too wide. So you get pillar boxed in there. You turn it sideways, then suddenly it works like a tablet at a landscape, which is what you want. So I am with you. I do appreciate what the Fold offers.
For sure. But when we look at a Z Fold 3 versus a scrollable, we're not going to have that issue. The scrollable is going to be a normal 20 by 9 aspect ratio outer screen that then turns into, again, it's the same thing. I liked the concept of the Huawei better. Was the Mate X. Was that their foldable? The Mate X?
I think it is the Mate X, yes.
But then, the idea of it folding out as opposed to folding closed is because you don't need to have a whole extra screen. You don't need
between that one and the first Fold. I said it very, very, very loudly and publicly. I like their design better.
Yeah,
I got a chance to play with one when I was in Shenzhen one time, and it truly was more enjoyable because when it was folded, it was still a phone.
Yeah,
it was literally, I think, was it a P30 Pro, roughly the size of a P30 Pro being folded, and then you open it up to when you wanted to experience it, and you close it. My only concern was the durability because of the fact that you had with the
screen is all on the outside.
It's all on the outside, and they gave you a very interesting wallet style pocket to put the phone in that comes with it. So I was like, I will never rock that. That is just not, you'll never see me walk down the street with a phone sticking out halfway out of my pocket.
But a scrollable brings me back to everything about the Mate X that I like. It is more efficient. You don't need to buy extra screen just so that you can have an open or a closed experience. You don't need to have extra cameras over a regular phone because of the orientation of those displays scrolling in and out. It solves all of those problems in a device that seems more lifestyle practical.
I agree.
I'm almost confident that our scrollables and foldables will probably take another jump in price this year. I'll be shocked if like the LG Explorer doesn't land at like, I don't know, what, $2,500, something like that.
I feel like for what they're offering, it's going to be up there. Yeah, there's no question. The X, the LG, the TC, even the TCL with their design, especially the scrollable, that's the scroll, the one that opens up in the scroll. That's probably going to be like I don't know. I think it's a fun piece of tech to check out, to look at. Realistically, at the end of the day, I'm excited for that type of technology to evolve. But I feel like what you're saying is true. I think the movement from folding screen, the folding display, it proved itself to be not as functional as what we're seeing with this. And if we're able to see the benefit of scrolling displays over folding displays, and they're not even out in the public yet, that tells you that we've been wanting more out of folding, but we haven't been getting it. 2 generations into the Fold, it is better. The external display is functional. They finally fixed the hinge mechanism. They did a lot of things to it. And I still feel like they could have done better. And like I said, the Z Fold 3 is already outshined, and it's not even in the hands of anybody yet. It may just be, I don't know, go back to the drawing board, Samsung, and come back in 2022 with a better, or maybe we'll see something later. But at the end of the day, I'm excited for what TCL. TCL did an amazing show between their TVs, the TCL 20. I mean, we can't forget the new 20 series TCL. They announced the new 20 Pro, I think, and then the new 20.
I don't think they had the 20 Pro. The 20 Pro was sort of shown.
Yeah,
but it didn't get the official announcement. I got the press release on the 25G, and the 20 SE.
Oh, that's what it was. It was the SE and the 5G. Sorry, I'm peace. Not the Pro.
But
The Pro,
here,
I think was,
I actually wanted to ask you about this too. I mean, again, just kind of wrapping up a segment on TCL. The TCL 25G is looking to be a less powerful device than the 10 5G.
yes, because it's not using it's. I think it's the 60.
It's going
right?
down to the 690.
Yep.
So what I think is interesting is watching TCL. I think they're taking a very hard targeted approach at the Nord. For all of the hate and all of the chagrin that OnePlus has been getting for diversifying their product lineup, so many companies seem to be anxious about that Nord to Nord N10 territory.
That $299 magic price point of a 5G phone from a big
rocked my opinion of that phone hard.
That's why when I looked at that phone, I said you have to look at it in the market that it's in. I'm not saying this is the same. I would give my same opinion about the N10 the same way if this was in Europe. In the US for $299, and it's a OnePlus experience at a $299 price point with 5G, it's changing the conversation. It's changing it because that's giving people to say, look, we can do better with the 6 series. We can give you 5G. And I agree. TCL, I think, is definitely the company to do it. They have obviously they own the hardware. I mean, 90% of what they're doing here, obviously, the display technology, all of that stuff, NX Vision, all of that, all of those new features that we saw in 2020. I think I'm excited to see what we see in next year. We didn't hear any other smartphone from other companies. I think like LG didn't talk smartphones. I think, and
they showed off their scrollable. I mean, it was just the teaser.
So it was at the end. No, they didn't talk about it. Remember, they didn't talk about it. He just said goodbye and have a good see. And if you were patient enough to wait to the end and you saw it, like, what the heck is it doing? Is it getting smaller? Is it the phone? Yeah. It was nice. I saw that. I was like, no. I see what you're doing. I
mean, it's like, I've got family members. Is LG showing off the new Samsung? I felt like if you weren't really,
yeah. No, I know.
But here's what I actually did want to say. I mean, from Samsung's press conference, CES has kind of become the TV show. This is where
it's for me. That's like 90% of what we see there is TV. I miss the LG booth. Let's just say that.
Oh, I love in their little lifestyle sections, and they have that living room in the middle. I miss their kitchen demos. Did you ever get to see them fire up that weird beer brewing machine?
No, I never. I've
never been able to hang out in their booth long enough to get a beer, and I'm sure it's terrible. It looks like a Keurig for beers, but I want to try one so bad. But the thing that I thought was kind of interesting, and I wanted to get your take on this. This was also a pretty strong show for robots. Samsung with their take on a robot vacuum actually I thought was pretty compelling.
And the vacuum itself and the guy
the arm was nuts.
He's like
but did you see the LG disinfecting robot?
So okay, I saw I could totally see that we're being implemented in hotels and different spots like that. Having it the way it's basically like a giant UV light. Yeah, no, a giant UV light on wheels. Oversimplified, absolutely oversimplified the text. But when I saw that, I was like, ingenious. Like, wow, like seriously. So robots, I feel like, are, especially with the situation with cleaning and consistent having, needing the manpower to keep things clean and sanitized as we are getting in the recovery staging of things, or how things are going with the current situation in there. I was very excited. That was actually one of the very nicest robots that I saw there as far as performance. Samsung's hand robot, the ability of doing my dishes concept kind of thing. I was like,
but they're just regular. It was kind of like a tank tread Roomba.
Yeah.
I actually liked that as like a practical consumer facing product better. I don't know what it is. I have no great fondness or love for the Samsung label anymore. I'm since like the Note 4, I'm kind of been off the Samsung Night hype train. when I saw their integration with camera sensors on a little Roomba style vacuum, and that legitimately to me makes a solid argument for a device that does two things. It helps vacuum around in your house, and in a pinch, when you get a notification from your home security setup, you can use that as like a little sentry drone to go and put cameras over where the disturbance was. And how I look at a brand like Samsung, and then I consider a brand like Ring with their little aerial security drone.
Where is that, by the way? I haven't seen the aerial drone. That I want that to fly around my house.
I feel like it's still just a step too far. I think most consumers are more going to be freaked out by that than actually think it's kind of cool. And I think it's going to take just a little bit longer for it to come to market. But I am emblematic of that. Yeah. For whatever reason, I am more willing to trust a company like Samsung with cameras on an autonomously roving robot in my home than an outlet like Ring.
That cleans, which is the biggest factor. It's not just that it actually does it, but it cleans.
But I know, but I mean, like, it's the same thing, you know, like back in like the Xbox 360 days, we went PlayStation because my wife and I, we weren't big fans of putting always on microphones and cameras in our living room. You know, like, I don't know what it is. It's marketing, it's branding, it's emotional, it's not rational. But I saw that on a Samsung and I went, oh, two things in one. It vacuums. I can also use it for security. And I trust that idea better than if that had come from like an Amazon branded company. That feels icky. I won't have that in my home.
It's already in your home. I mean, I don't want to say her name right now, but she's like right behind the monitor. But you know, I know what you mean. We have one of those vacuums that do the cleaning around the house and stuff like that every once in a while. And I truly, so for me, my thing about that was whenever we do, like we go trips and so on, whatever, I always like to check on my cats. We have cats. So to me, also even the ability of checking on your pets, security, things like that, those are always great. They did also kind of also talk about the Samsung Smartthings integration with Android Auto, which was also very nice. That I thought was a good integration that wasn't there. I know that I don't see Samsung Smartthings in my dashboard, so I'm assuming it's coming soon. I felt that was a smart approach to being able to, as opposed to just verbally say them, but being able to initiate scenes, set up different scenarios and so on. But the fact that the example they used, which I found really funny, was the guy starting his laundry machine before he gets home. And I'm like, dude, you need to get home to put your laundry in it first. Otherwise, what's the point? Why didn't you run it before? Why is it not done already? Anyways, the example was perfect when it came to the turning on the lights and everything, but the laundry. Anyways, so if you ever wanted to set up the laundry to turn on, you can have it set to turn on in the middle of the night. That makes more sense to me as a scenario. But yeah, there's a lot of home automation, home tech. Android Auto was mentioned once, and apparently now you can turn on your car with your Samsung device if you wanted to do that. Only Samsung S21, because the S20 doesn't do that. No other Samsung ever, or no other phone can do it. But I did want to circle back last thing before we kind of.
I do want to point out that if the car manufacturers actually took any initiative, that wouldn't be the case, because my mom doesn't seem to have any problems using her OnePlus 6T as the key for her Tesla. But then you'd need an auto manufacturer that wasn't allergic to technology and incorporating that technology into their fleet.
Other devices than just the S21. No, I know. I agree.
Apparently only BMW and iPhones. Your BMW is now the most expensive accessory you compare with your iPhone.
And I think they demoed, was it an Audi, or I forgot what car was it that they showed? But yeah, those were little things. I don't think people were there. There wasn't much, I think, focus on that part. But
CES being like the show of entertainment and TVs, how were you feeling about some of the TV announcements? I'm not hyped on resolution, but I'm interested in some of the new like backlighting.
The backlighting, the new tech I was interested on. I don't think 8K is really at where 8K needs to be. I think 8K is still you aspire to 8K. You're not really future proofing by doing it now. I think at the end of the day, I think TCL, the TVs that we saw were, for me at least, like, let's just say this, nothing made me feel like I needed to go buy a TV right now. But
fair. Very fair.
Those are the things I typically look for, the excitement. It's the when I see the tech and I'm like waiting for.
Don't you feel like the new Chromecast and like the NVIDIA Shield has kind of given old TVs a huge shot in the arm?
Oh, like they regenerated, they rejuvenated everything. I mean, we saw Sony integrating Android, the new Google TV in there. I'm like, you've had that in there. You've had Android TV in there before. This isn't new, but you're incorporating the new one. I love it. We want more smart TVs with this type of smart TV tech, not the proprietary UI that at some point gets forgotten, doesn't get updated. And I say this because Samsung does that to me all the time. I have TVs in my house that I can't download Discovery Plus on because I want to try Discovery Plus. It works on one TV.
As soon as you started hyping up Shield, and like I finally walked away from my old Chromecasts and I got the new Chromecast. I am so happy to be done with Samsung's horrific UI.
Their UI, absolutely. Their app store, their whole configuration, all of that. They could
I spent
definitely
so much on this damn QLED, and now I finally feel like I'm getting my money's worth, and it's because of a $50 Chromecast.
A Chromecast Ultra with Android with Google TV on it it was so right the way Google did it. So absolutely, that's really the big thing. Content consumption, content not creation, but consumption for me is a big factor. And I think there was a lot of new things. We'll have to see, obviously, how they come out. I think TCL had a few offerings that I was very interested in, but that's typical. I feel like TCL always does it for the right price.
For sure.
Sony, the Bravia, like wow, but I don't think I can afford that level of TV. But the tech that they have in there was definitely very exciting. So I think at the end of the day, I can say that in 2020, I was more excited about a gaming monitor that I saw. It is going to go back to Samsung, but it is a gaming monitor at CES. I waited 7 months for that guy. 7 months I waited for that monitor, and I'm in love with that monitor. Once you go ultra wide on a monitor for content creation, gaming, whatever, I spend hours in front of it, and I have not been tired once since July, and we are in January. I'm telling you, this is daily consistent work. So I didn't get that this year yet, but again, if we were there, if we actually saw the tech as opposed to just seeing the PR pieces, I would say maybe that would have been a little bit better. But
now I feel you were excited monitors, but the one that, again, it's such a cliche for me to even bring up this company. I'm very anxious. I'm very curious to see LG's Ultrafine with an OLED.
Okay.
So 4K OLED Pro from LG Display.
They had a few monitors too. They had actually a few gaming monitors as well. Not just that. Yeah.
Could be my jam. I mean, there's no way this monitor is coming in like under $2,000. You know?
No.
Not for one of their ultra fines, but I got a little like hot and bothered thinking about, sitting this close to an OLED, that kind of pixel pitch at that kind of resolution. I could.
That would make your day. That would make your day much nicer at the end. You would like, yes, honey, I got to work late. I don't know when I'll be back.
But along with all of this, again, I mean, there's always going to be kind of like that old school debate between like LCDs and plasmas. Way back in the first flat panel TV days. I'm really curious to see if mini LED and these discrete sort of backlight and display zones. Are you worried that is going to feel like it's going to be kind of a FOMO feel? Like this is the evolutionary step that then gets us into micro LED. And that because this is a new backlight technology, it's going to be expensive to pick up now. But I don't know that it's going to have the shelf life. Do you know what I mean? I'm not explaining myself very well, but I mean, I'm sure you can kind of grok what I'm getting at. Does mini LED feel like the thing to jump on now, or should we keep in this holding pattern where micro LED or OLEDs might make sense?
I would say wait. I am not that I'm not excited about it. I feel like it looks great, but again, it's just like there was so much of it also announced last. I mean, there was a lot of things that we've seen about what new TVs can do, but I feel like I want to say let's wait. Let's see what they can do next, and maybe if you like it enough that you could jump on it at that point when the price point's a little bit better. It does look great. There's nothing wrong with it. It just, for me, I feel like it's a move. It's a move. We know what works. We know how we have it now. We know what the new technology is able to provide us. We also know that the pricing is also starting to drop on some of the other tech. Like I said, not excited. Nothing got me excited this year, but it's like, okay, I'm going to start saving up my money for however long it takes before these things come out. So, I will, we'll have to see when they show up at Best Buy. I'll start going down there and with my,
I was just thinking the same thing. Like, they'll be at Costco by March. I'll have to make a trek to Costco.
Yes, be careful which Costco you go to. Also, lately they've been they're oh my god, yes, it gets very I was going to say colorful, but yeah, no.
Yes, colorful is very fair. That is a very fair and diplomatic way of describing that.
Ronaldo wants to bring back CRT. Oh, come on, Rolando.
No, I mean like that huge fad of people that were like gaming on older high-end CRTs. I get it. If I had the space, I'd totally tinker with one, but my desk is now so cramped.
I was gonna say, can you imagine a CRT sitting on your? How much space you have to give it from the back, and you also have to give it space from the back to actually, dissipate the heat and all of that stuff. I don't know. People like my son has no idea what I grew up with as a TV. His understanding of a TV is that it's a larger tablet.
Yeah,
that's their understanding of tech, and I'm sure Lex will be the same.
Flat.
Yeah, because that's what they know. He actually, the last LG TV that I had that was thicker, slightly thicker than what we have right now, died a few years ago, but he never saw it because I ended up giving that to my mom when I upgraded to the Samsung. So we'll see how things go later on this year. And I speaking of which, I should have fired up a few emails to TCL and LG. I don't know why. This week was a very, like I said, juggling day job and CES at the same time and press briefings. And
it was proper weird. I got the most traction out of Pepcom.
I liked Pepcom. I liked Showstoppers. Pepcom was actually very nice. I like their setup. I like their approach. And I'm still able to access all the presentations. This is the cool thing. It doesn't end that night, which is typical to when we go to these events. I just hope, like I said, the only thing is the interpersonal conversation where you're able to stand, talk to the person, understand the product, try it, check it out, see how it is. That was about the only thing I missed. But hopefully 2021 or 2022 will be the year we could check it out again. And
I'm feeling, I mean, especially after our experiences this year and trying to get a few more people, vaccinated and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm feeling pretty confident that
Dodger Stadium, man, it's going to be a mega vaccination system. Sorry.
But that I feel like it probably won't ever get back. I shouldn't say ever. It probably won't get back for a while to the same type of population density in Vegas. Yeah. But I have to believe that there's going to be a better in-person component to CES 2022. And I'm really looking forward.
We saw, actually, if you think about it, we saw Samsung holding their PR meetings with everybody. If there was anything to look under that, a lot of obviously the pre-briefs and so on, all of that, those things were done in person. They were not remote, which also
for Samsung, I would like to say that was grossly irresponsible. And there was
a kind of a, like every other company has done it responsibly where they've done it. There's no need for them. I mean, if they were going to send the phones to the reviewers, I understand. There's no need for them to have, OnePlus did it multiple times.
I'm under embargo for a company right now. And, there was no issue with them sending me product and me jumping on a video call.
Absolutely.
To talk about that product. Doing an in-person pre-brief was grossly irresponsible. And yet another step where I'm kind of happy to not be on that old Samsung PR train.
It was
not a ride that I would have done this year.
It was a very interesting conversation. So either way, short answer, yes. Obviously, the many things are hopefully will get better in 2021 as time goes on and with more vaccinations coming up. I think that's definitely the right direction.
So was there anything else at the show that you were kind of digging on? I know Aditya is asking about AR And
yeah, AR, and I saw that. I didn't. I don't want. I want to say I may have missed it, but I'll have to go back and kind of circle back and see if AR
okay.
glasses and so on. So
So
what
I
did
did
you?
a video for reviews.org. I'm going to
Okay.
be picking up just a little freelance work. I'm adding another byline to my repertoire because I just don't have enough to do.
Mhm.
Um, it was kind of a fun trend seeing. I think we got a good representation of all 4 different flavors of face computers.
Okay.
So TCL had the passive cinema display,
Yep.
which, it's not about interacting with things. It's about
Just
making the
seeing.
nicest way to consume content.
Mhm.
Vuzix. Are you familiar with Vuzix? They make like
No.
industrial heads-up displays.
Okay.
They're the ones that like have that weird arm that's almost kind of like Google Glass style that like sticks out
You
from a pair of goggles, and it's to reference like
you mean the
shipping.
Mando? It's like what's it called? Boba Fett targeting.
Kind of, kind
Yeah,
of.
yeah, yeah. That's.
Their newest headset looks like Focals by North.
I miss
So
focals. I
they're
miss.
just
I
they're
never got onto the whole focal thing. Yes.
they're chunky, but they look like regular glasses frames. And there's another company called Norm, which is also trying to do this too. So it's not
Mhm.
AR, but it's heads up. It's a HUD
Is
built
it
into just a slightly chunkier pair of regular glasses.
what was it? What was this for the average? Not the average consumer, but is it to the general consumer?
For Norm, I think that they are looking at the people like this is going to be the thing that replaces your smartwatch. I'm not sure with Vuzix because Vuzix entire backing has been more industrial. So
Yep.
like it's what you would use in a shipping center. It's what you would use, to
There's
catalog.
and we've seen those before. Those are
Yeah,
in
lots of options for stuff like that.
last year. I think I saw Qualcomm had a demo at the
Oh,
summit.
I mean, even the remnants of Google Glass went
Oh,
that
absolutely.
business direction, not for consumers, but this is the
I
first
miss
product.
glass. By the way.
Oh yeah, Focals,
So
Google bought North, and now
I was gonna.
they're making
Yeah.
it so
Uh,
bad.
as they were getting ready to release the second generation, they started hyping it up, and they got bought out, and it. Yeah. I mean, we'll have to see. Maybe 2021 is the year we see that something.
But my favorite. So I mean, sorry, getting back on. If you want to take a step up from that, the AR
Mhm.
conversation was actually Lenovo.
Yes. Yes.
That headset looking like it could actually give HoloLens a run
Mhm.
for its money and not look like you're a reject from
You're
Tron, like with the full like face wraparound.
Well, no, no. It just the way they set it up. It literally looks like a massive. You had what's it called? Like a jet fighter pilot helmet minus the helmet with the glass in the. But they left the glass and
Yeah,
took the
don't
helmet
get me
away.
wrong. I think HoloLens looks. I mean, like I would wear HoloLens out in public if I could. I'm not. I just know people shouldn't follow me
You
on
would
that.
rock it.
That's a bad idea. But the Lenovo version is looking. I mean, it looks like an evolutionary leap on cramming all of those optics, all of those cameras, all of those
Mhm.
sensors
I'm
into
trying to bring
something
it up for somebody that I
that
want to.
doesn't look like a ridiculous helmet apparatus on your head. I've got the video. I mean, I had to pull it for that reviews.org video if you want me to screen
Sure.
share it. But I feel like the first practical application of AR is actually going to be more like what Panasonic was showing off.
Mhm.
Because Panasonic was showing off their work on making smart windshields,
Mhm.
where it's like Terminator vision. It's like highlighting pedestrians and bicyclists.
I
It's
like that.
tracking other cars in your field of view. And of course, the thing we all want is when you get your turn by turn, it's painting the turn by turn directions
On
on the road
on the
in
road,
front of
kind of like how Google Maps AR does, which I actually no, Google Maps AR is actually floating. I don't think it paints on the ground.
you. I've got the Lenovo here. Let me screen share.
Yeah, let's add that.
So, I mean, if you've ever seen a HoloLens, this is huge in that it's so much smaller. I mean, look at that. Again,
When I saw that,
you wouldn't walk around with those, but you could legit carry those with you to work in a coffee shop or at a mobile office or something like that.
absolutely,
That's insane.
But look about what is it powered with?
Oh no, it needs a computer. It's not
No, no,
like
no, no,
a
no,
self.
no. Ryzen, my friend, Ryzen. Let's come back to the same story. Ryzen,
Bringing it
baby.
back to AMD.
Bring it back to AMD. They're powering everything. It's almost like MediaTek. They're in everything.
Do you want to see those Vuzix? Sorry,
sure.
I can.
Yeah. Now that why not? We'll make that into we'll wrap that into our marathon of a show. No.
we had a lot to talk about with that Galaxy.
I know.
So check this out. I mean, it's not the same kind of measured single eye that Focal's was. The displays are.
I would rock that. That is just. This is my jam.
I don't wear glasses. I would totally rock that because I look good in glasses. I could pull that off.
I don't. You're gonna look as good as me, man. Let's not talking about competition. It's too late.
I've lost that competition, but
Vuzix. Welcome back.
I was very happy with how I looked in Focals. And I don't need.
No, actually, Focals. Actually, honestly, that was when your video made me try to seek out and try to get in touch with somebody, and I did, and it was. Anyways, let's not. I'm not going to dwell on the past.
So sad you couldn't at least just try them out. I mean, especially like after Josh got to use them too. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Everybody got a chance to. When I did get in touch with them, they were like, you know what? Don't worry, we're working on the next one. Focal 2 is coming out. Don't worry, we'll circle back and whatever. And like I want to say, almost a week or two before supposedly they were supposed to come out, Google made the announcement, and then I got an email from the same person. Just like, hey, sorry, it is what it is. And nice seeing you later. With that being said, I know CES has come and gone. 2021 has started off with many massive events within the first few weeks of 2021, which I hope. I hope the year does get better, and I hope you're doing well. And you do, you're able to kind of, recoup and get back into somewhat of a norm. And I wish you the best of luck with the A7S III, and I hope it does convert you over, because I think it is going to. But I mean, I don't know how long you've had it, but however time you got to shoot some video.
But I mean, even after that first burst of photos that I took, and just like, I'm really gonna like this.
Yeah. So for reference though, the A7 III is definitely a lot cheaper if you're thinking of picking up maybe a used one at some point. And it will give you. I
want the flip out I mean, that's why I stuck with Panasonic for so long, is I want the side flip out display, and I want 4K 60, and that's what the A7S.
I know A7S III does that, and it does it beautifully. That's all I have to say. It's muy bueno, muy bueno. So, thank you, Sony, for teasing some gadget guy.
My appetite, as it were.
Twice now. Like I said, last year they did the A7 III. This year the A7S III.
The A7 III. I mean, again, it's exactly what you were talking about. The focus on photography. It took me back to everything that I loved about shooting stills. And again, having that camera over Christmas last year. I've got these amazing photos of Lex opening presents, Lex putting ornaments on the tree. We went to Candy Cane Lane, and all of the just unbelievable bouquet of lights in the background, as you can see the sparkle in her eye, the magic of Christmas. And it's like having night vision because the camera sensor is just so insane. But I could kind of step back away from that and go back to buying Panasonics because I needed video, and I want 60 frames per second.
It is. Yep.
It's so much harder when it's got all that great photo stuff and it can do my work stuff.
That was the reason why it took me forever to upgrade the GH5. It's just that with the flip out display. Also, we have a new menu system, which is another thing that when you get a chance to play around with it, it's a much more intuitive, more simpler menu system than the pages and pages and pages and pages and pages and pages.
I'm only scratching the surface, but even just like turning off the display for the HDMI output was like, I found that right away. That was so much easier.
So much easier than understanding old systems. So short answer, yes, definitely. I'm excited to hear your thoughts on this after whatever you're done with it. Actually, so Aditya was asking wait, hold on. This A7S III has a flip out display? Like what? What is that? Oh, look at that. Swivel, baby. Swivel. And you could see yourself when you're working. And that cage, Aditya, just seriously, that cage he's using is crazy nice. I don't have mine yet, but anyways.
So not only the flip out display, but going to the chunkier grip. It drove me nuts that the A7 III had a smaller grip with these massive lenses. The grip is smaller on the A7 III than it is on my Panasonic G9. And lenses on Micro Four Thirds are like little baby teacup lenses. Like they're real easy to get around with.
Full frame lenses are not.
And the grip on the A7 III was so like front top heavy.
Yeah,
it was so nose heavy. This is so much easier to hold.
The balance and also, so having the right cage on it also helps a lot with mounting things on it.
With this cage and the chunkier grip, I mean, it feels really nice in the hand. Like it feels like you could, if you had an evolved primate grip with an opposable thumb, like it's not going to slice your hand open. It's pretty nice. It feels really good.
But the question is, will it take a picture? And apparently it does. So
I did a full photo comparison between the A7S III and the iPhone 12 Pro Max, and for HDR auto photos, I mean, it's no contest. I mean, the iPhone is just the best photo platform you can have. If you just want to like hold a camera up and push a shutter button and like not even tap to focus, I mean, like the full auto, I don't understand why anyone would spend $4,000 on this camera body, because an iPhone is pretty much all
it is actually about $4,000, or you're not kidding.
Average consumers to
you factor it. Exactly. Absolutely. Sorry, Sony, please come back with the A7S IV.
I mean, better luck next year. I mean, there's some good ideas, but maybe we'll see them really stick the landing in 2022.
Hopefully they do. I hope they do. But I probably would not be touching the next series because it took me forever to get to this one. So with that being said, I want to say we are almost at the 2-hour mark. I want to say thank you very much for everybody for spending your evening, your mornings. I was going to say your afternoon, but depending where you are, it is the afternoon. Last thing I wanted to maybe just Alt 502 is asking a question, Juan, about those earbuds that you have, those custom.
I answered in the chat. I was going to let us kind of wrap up the.
Oh yeah. Okay, perfect.
If you want to know, they're Mi Audio MX3s. That's a triple driver in-ear monitor with detachable cables, but I use them with custom molds. So I need to reseat my left ear. Like they've got it like a gel. I should be using the gel.
Some gadget guy answered the question already, but thank you, Juan, for trying to take the credit for that. He keeps showing up in all of our best of our week shows.
Look at me, I'm holding so many phones in my profile picture.
With that being said, I hope you guys are doing. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying safe, and I hope you're connecting with your friends and family. You're saying hello to somebody that you haven't talked to for some time. I enjoy spending time with talking to Juan Carlos. I wish we were able to hang out even more in person. Hopefully soon. We're getting there. As much as information that came out, there's going to be more, obviously, conversations still being had. I'm now going to be diving or trying to do some deep dives into AR and glasses, and apparently I missed a massive. I saw the Lenovo ones, and that was exciting for me, but I didn't actually pay attention to some of the other implementations. I was seriously just literally trying to jump between one event to the other, and there is still so much more to check. So there may be more things for us to talk about next week. And I will say, again, thank you, Juan, for spending your time with us. Hope you guys had an entertaining show and you learned something. And, obviously, we try to share our experience as best as we can in the best manner. And, of course, you guys are our best support system. So thank you very much. Like and subscribe as usual. Make sure to subscribe to both Juan Carlos and myself. Information will be in the description below. I forgot to plug that in last few shows that we've done. And I want to say that maybe at some point I'm thinking about also starting up an audio version of our podcast, which I think we should be.
Actually, I want to throw that out there. I was gonna wrap up my spiel on this too. If you guys think that maybe saving some of these podcasts or conversations as an audio only feed, let us know, and we can set up the RSS. We can put it on podcasting platforms if that's something that you'd like to take a listen to later. I just kind of putting it out there, some help sharing, kind of spreading the word. And I feel like this is going to be a format for us where we could make this a regular weekly conversation.
Absolutely. And I'm very excited about that. So take care, everybody. have a good night and good morning, good day, depending where you are. We'll see you guys next week on episode 56. Wait, no, not 56. 6. Sorry. 56. We're jumping. 6. See. Yeah, I know. It's late.
Bam.
Take it easy.